He inspired us, gave us courage, kept us together, and brought us here. He fought for our independence, built a nation where there was none, and made us proud to be Singaporeans.
Lew Kuan Yew, the current Prime Minister of Singapore, remembering his father, Lew Kuan Yew, who passed away on Sunday. Lew Kuan Yew, considered the founding father of Singapore. The government has declared a week of national mourning as it remembers Lew Kuan Yew. And for more on this story, we are so pleased to be joined on this anchor desk by James Dale Davidson, best-selling author, investor, and editor for Strategic Investment. And James Dale, the rise of Singapore and the role that Lee played in it. Your thoughts?
Well, I think he was a great man. I was lucky enough to have met him on several occasions, spent an amazing afternoon talking to him about his career and why he did the things he did. And I thought that he was a genius. You know, he was a man who ostensibly was a man of the left. When he was in England, he took a double first at Cambridge, and that's almost impossible. He was the most outstanding student in Malaysia and Singapore as a high school student before World War II. He was the #1 student in that entire area. And he got a double first at Cambridge, which I said is almost impossible. So he was a genius. I mean, his IQ was many standard deviations above the average. And it really helped. Even though he worked for the Labour Party in politics in England while he was a student, he came away with the view that the welfare state was a big mistake. But he knew he had to run as a person of the left in order to make a career in politics in Singapore. So one of the things that he did is he changed the terms of the welfare state slightly and created individual accounts for people where you had to pay into your own medical program with a very high tax, a forced savings plan, and then you decided what level of service you wanted. So you got to save a lot of money. And the reason that today Singapore is wealthier than the United States on a per capita basis is because of all the capital that was accumulated instead of it being wasted as it would have been if there had been a welfare state Medicare type program.
Do you think that model would work here?
Of course it would. The arithmetic is much in favor of it. And he made this point to me. He said, look, if you want to go to the hospital and pay extra for an air-conditioned room, if you're paying for it, that's your privilege. Go ahead. But if you'd rather save the money, save it. And that's why in Singapore we have a choice. You can, if you want air-conditioned rooms, you pay for them out of your own money. If you don't, you're not paying for them out of somebody else's money.
James, we only have about a minute and a half left, but to hear you talk about this, it really brings home the notion of personalization. We talked about something similar for retirement accounts. They said, stay away from the word privatization, but make it personal. Is that what Lee was able to do to bring home the personal aspect of the savings decisions?
Well, I think so. What he did was he made it your own money, because instead of having the tax pool just open for people to graze in, where you have the tragedy of the commons, as they say, where everybody lives at everybody else's expense or tries to, you're living at your own expense. And you put up the money, and it's your money that you spend. And at the end of the day, you have wealth, because you get to keep what's left over, or you can give it to your children.
If you were going to describe him in one word, we only have a few seconds, what would it be?
Well, I think he had the good sense, that's not one word, it's a sentence, he had the good sense to recognize that things are not always as they seem, and he organized Singapore so it would be successful. He told me that he was blessed when he came to Singapore that there was no oil there. He said the fact that the country was poor when I took over is what enabled me to make it rich.
And it made a lot of difference. He did. And we thank you, James Dale Davidson, for your insight on this. And there is more straight ahead on America's Forum.